Your wealth is ultimately determined by you. What you don't want to do is let your money affect how you feel during the day. Ultimately, it's supposed to work for you and not affect you. So yeah, always like keep that in mind. This one book that sparked me, and from that book I've read, it really changed how I saw everything. I had all these insecurities of myself, and I was trying to use money to fix my personal insecurities. So that was a way for me to, express myself in a way. Yeah, exactly. The coward dies 1,000 times before he does it, but a brave man just dies once.
Ooh.
All
right, never heard that before,
I'm not sure if you picked it up, man.
You're listening to Conscious Conversations, a personal and spiritual growth podcast to help you become your fullest expression. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Mark Ruchak, your host and the founder of Divicati. Welcome to the 15th episode of Conscious Conversation, a podcast for growth-oriented and mission-driven divine beings. This is a space where we host high vibrational conversations with the intent to help you become the fullest expression of yourself. Each episode will dive deep into rabbit holes and always end up with at least one big insight that you can apply to help optimize your life, body, or soul and leave the podcast feeling inspired, awakened, and empowered. Our broader mission at Divicati, why we do this, is to create a 5D world by harnessing the power of collective ascension and collaboration. So I'm so glad that you can join us today, and with a very special guest, Sunny Lee. Sunny, we met way back, back in primary school, and he is from Macau, China. And he is just someone that I'm very interested and curious about, because I never knew Sunny was this type of man, this type of ambitious, curious, personal development oriented guy, someone that reads, someone that dug deep into the rabbit hole, that does his research. And recently he also launched a investing blog called Lay Invest, right, where it's really about helping people, especially within the Macau region at the moment. But I'm sure he has global vision to expand further, to help people just get in the game of investing, because this is something that he truly is passionate about, helping people improve their financial literacy. So today we're I'm very honored to have that time with him, to chat about kind of like his personal development journey, and then dive deep into the juice of investing in yourself. And then in the part 2, we'll talk about how to specifically invest in cryptocurrencies as well as stocks, and just kind of like the little nuanced details that we all should look out for when starting to invest. So yeah, thank you for coming on the show today, man.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm very honored to be here, to be part of your journey in creating this podcast.
Yeah.
And, I hope today, wherever we share, where we can make an impact or leave something really insightful for you guys.
Yeah, man. So let's start off talking a little bit more about who you are, and then we can also dive deep into our kind of like history. But I think maybe starting off with a little story and something that, prior to the show, recording, we're just chatting about, just for context, right? I know his older brother, Po Lee. Shout out to Po if you're watching this.
Shout out Po. He's in New Zealand right now.
Yeah, he's in New Zealand. Yeah.
He's also going to be his entrepreneur himself, starting a cafe.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll get more updates from him, how he's going to do.
Yeah. I mean, his family was very, your whole family is very entrepreneurial, because I remember Po was helping your mom pack some Pampers, in the past. And so, yeah, that's great. But that's why I'm friends with his brother, and so I come to your house, I see you as when you were quite little already, and then but we never had that serious talk, obviously, until that one time. For some reason, I was working on a project, a school vending machine project, and prior to that I created a food cart at my high school. And then for some reason, I thought about you to help kind of launch this thing because I was about to leave TIS. And then that's when we first had that conversation. And I don't know, what do you remember from that convo?
Yeah, I remember you just approaching me, trying to pitch me this vending machine project that you're gonna propose to the school, and make a few $1,000 every month, like your passive income. Like that sparked me as well, because like I was never really the thought of business didn't really go through my mind during that age. And when I see those numbers, I was like, whoa, where does these numbers come from? So like my mind just kind of like, it went through like, how did he get those numbers, or like how does this business is gonna operate? So I feel like that was when my mind for like thinking and thoughtful process actually started.
Oh,
so,
for real?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. And yeah, I think we go way back then, before than this project, right? I think I think I've helped you out during the school lunch cart as well, back then.
Oh yeah, I think so. You were part of student council as well, right, back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, man. I don't have as much of as deep of an impression on that than this one. But then we also did, and then just kind of moving forward, right? So that's when your mind started sparking on kind of business and stuff. And then after maybe 2 years later, when when I pitched you that you're in grade 10.
Yeah.
I think so, right? And then 2 years later, when I was in University of Edinburgh, kind of like, in my low times, by the way, it wasn't like I was a little bit depressed back then. But funny enough, you reached out to me, and because I did like this, in grade 12, I did this thing where I took a period off, and where I worked on the food cart. And you did the same thing where you worked on kind of like a business idea. Do you remember that thing happening? Where you did the drop shipping.
Oh, right. The drop shipping venture. I did that in my last year at high school. Because I reached out to you because I knew you had like a lot of experience in like startups. So I was doing this business project. First of all, I was trying to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
But the second goal was to actually pass the course, because the course was actually to create a semi-successful business.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, it just broke even. Like I didn't make a lot of money, but it went better than my expectations.
Right.
Because back then I had no experience in like content creating or any sort of web design. So everything was outsourced, and I spent a lot of money not knowing where it went. And that's also when I started to read books about like business startups, like the $100 startup. That was one of my most memorable books that I bought during in one of the bookstores in like the airport. And then I started digging into like how does a drop shipping business model work? Like how does people actually make money from this? And yeah, that's how it all pans out.
Yeah, but how many people did that course? Was it only you?
I was the only one who did this business orientated project, but
right.
What the school called was called the passion project. So people just did whatever they were passionate about.
Okay, that's cool.
Back then I was passionate in startups, so that's what I did.
But like, tell me a little bit more, right? Because let's say that initial meeting at that cafe, at Tom's Cafe, that like sparked you, like looking at numbers. Like, what made you kind of like dove into that journey and starting this drop shipping business in grade 12?
I think it was more orientated in. I had a mindset of just like being rich and like incredibly rich and just hungry for money, because I feel like now. I did actually a self-reflection last week of myself of what is my hunger for business? Is it money, or is it passion, or is it my fulfillment or purpose? And reflecting on the past, it was actually heavily driven on like money. And the reason why I was so hungry for it is I had all these insecurities of myself,
Mm.
and I was trying to use money to, you know, fix my personal insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a way for me to, you know, express myself in a way,
Mm-hmm.
is to, you know, cover up my
Mm.
insecurities.
I
And-
see.
And that was, you know, my pathway in development, drop shipping, and also the food cart and the vending machine.
Right. It was driven from that ego
Yeah.
place, right? But what about now? Like how are you switching that energy right now?
Yeah, right now it's totally switched, and I feel a sense of purpose, like,
Mm.
because I have this knowledge in investing and finance,
Mhm.
and I know there's a lot of people out there who doesn't have the opportunities or the privilege to learn about these kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I feel kind of obligated to, you know, share these essential, like, personal finance facts that
Mhm.
everyone should know, and that's why I created Lay Invest, and it's free, and everyone can just get their basic education in finance there.
Yeah. So moving on the story a little bit, because we're still
Yeah.
on your story, right? And
Yeah.
then after you did the drop shipping thing, and then you went to university in UK, right? And you studied finance.
Yeah.
And was it like major in finance?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
majored in finance. It was heavily focused in numerical, quantitative stuff. So,
Mhm.
personally, I actually don't have a lot of, like, experience or practical knowledge in entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
but I would say I do have a lot of educated field in the field of, like, investing and, like, quantitative analysis.
Mhm.
So that's obviously we're going to dive deep into that in part 2, but
Right.
we don't want to, you know, put too much information right
yeah,
now.
we're just
so-
giving the
Yeah.
background right
Yeah.
now. But like in university, right? Because a lot of people just kind of see university as this place where, oh yeah, I'll just kind of fuck around for a couple of years and then, you know, just hire people to do my tests or whatever. They're not really there to seek for knowledge or there to, you know, there's different types of personas there, right? I don't want to. I'm just talking in general terms, right? But you are someone that actually put in the time, because you start sharing stories on your Instagram, like you're reading this book, you're reading that book, and then when you post this book, you're like, okay, Sonny is in the rabbit hole, like he's doing the work and like you know, investing in himself and, you know, making himself better. So like what kind of, like, I guess motivated you or pushed you? Was it still that hunger for this insecurities that like made you kind of, you know, put this extra effort to become better? Like what was that?
I saw the hole in society where it's being neglected, and when a lot of friends came towards me and asked for investment tips or advice, and then I just see how their life could be, you know, so much better, and I see the potential in them, but they're just not doing what I hope them to do. But I don't expect them to do it, but
Mhm.
I see this potential in them, I just feel like they could be so much better of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my inner driven core, and right now I would not say it's driven by the ego of money.
Mm-hmm. But what
and
about
yeah.
during that first couple years of university?
During the couple of years of university, I probably wasn't really thinking about, like, working for money, because I couldn't really work
Mhm.
in the UK as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest change of my vision of money and investing was started probably like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say my education has, you know, educated in me in a way that changed my vision or how I perceived money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a lot of schools that don't educate people in how to manage their money, which I think is crucially important.
Right.
And I think, you know, high schools or primary schools should start teaching that.
Right. No, 100%. But like, you know, Robert Kiyosaki and the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? deliberately says that school don't teach you about money because they don't want you to know about how the monetary system policy is created, which we'll kind of dive deep into part 2, and like why you should start investing to, you know, protect your purchasing power and all that. Like they want to, because the education system is not designed for this kind of modern society, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man.
Yeah, but hey, here's the thing, right? I still want to get to the gist, like, of what how. I guess like what I'm trying to ask is like, do you feel like you are a little bit different from your peer group in your same age, right? That focus more on themselves and on their own on their own personal development. I still want to know, like, how come what made you like this versus like other people?
I would say my environment and how this one book that sparked me, and from that book I've read, it really changed how I saw everything. And this book is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, and I still go to his free mentorship every day in the morning, and he talks a lot about like self-investing and how small decisions every day in your life could create such a long-lasting impact in your long-term life. So that really got me conscious about like about small decisions I make every day. For example, like am I gonna scroll Facebook for the next 10 minutes or before I sleep, or am I just gonna go to bed right now? Because that makes a lot of difference when I wake up, because that 10 minutes is going to determine how I feel tomorrow morning. Because if I'm going to wake up at 5 in the morning, if I'm going to keep scrolling my Facebook, I won't be able to do that, man.
Right. So when did you read that book?
That was about 2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay.
So I recommend everyone check it out, man.
Yeah.
The free mentorship is on darrenhardy.com, and
Right.
yeah, you just gotta sign up for a newsletter, and it sends like a notification to your email, and all you gotta do is click in that link every morning.
Nice.
It's there for you.
Nice, dude. Like I'm getting some chills right now, and that's the reason being is because I read a similar book with a similar concept, but it's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Alston. I'm not sure if that's his. I forgot his last name, but definitely it's Jeff, but I think it's something like that. But it talks about the slight edge, where it's like if you do a certain habit for one time, you don't see the immediate effects or negative consequences as well, but it's that slight edge. It's like chipping the stone, you know, a little bit by bit, or walking, you know, 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? Like what you, like going back to what you said, if you eat a salad today, you won't see the immediate effect, but if you continue that for like 21 days and more, you start seeing that slight edge effect. And so it's like, so for you, after you read that book, what changed in your mind? Like how do you become a better person?
I just became more self-aware of how my mind was thinking, and also I think what was a big influence was on me was my environment, because my parents, they're not from Macau. My dad was an immigrant into Macau, and then my mom's from China, so they don't have any close relationships or anyone rich in Macau, so they started their own business, and you know they're extremely hardworking in raising us, my brother and I, to go to such a luxurious school.
Right.
And that was such a huge pressure on them. And I also have a sister, and during such years back then where the economy was so, you know, stressful and not uplifting, I was raised in an environment where I was forced to, you know, get into the family business to help out around like the age of 14, 15. So I was already working kind of part-time at nighttime for my family, which I currently still do, but it made me aware of like how the value of money is not so it's something more. It's not just like it's it's a vehicle. It's not like something that will make you happy. Like that's like a really important mindset that I got from my parents, and that money is just a vehicle for you to do things that you want, and not just it shouldn't be your goal. Right.
Man, like I can really say that, like I can really agree with that, because right now, let's say, you know, my crypto investments or whatever, the portfolio that I've set up, you know, a year ago is starting to pay its fruits, right? And then I still remember the first time, like I won't disclose the amount, but like I'm just saying, like the first time I saw it reach a certain percentage or reach a certain amount, I was like, holy moly. And then like let's say now it's like, you know, a couple times more of that, but like it still doesn't make me happy because of the numbers, right? And then it's like, how can you utilize that money? That's where I'm still trying to figure out more and more nowadays. Like we can invest in other kind of asset classes, you know, or other things to grow more of that money, but how can we really use that money to better ourselves? And that kind of perfectly transitions into today's topic, where we want to talk a little bit about investing in ourselves, because like I have the urge to just, hey guys, like invest in this, invest in, you make a shit ton of money, right? But like we gotta remember, because a lot of people time when they talk, like I kind of wrote an article on your blog as well, right? A lot of people when they talk about investments, they don't talk about investing in the ultimate investment, which is ourselves.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to start the conversation there, and then go into more of the technicalities and on what to do, where to go invest, and stuff like that. And so with investing yourself, what's your, I guess, general perspective and philosophy around that?
Yeah. Do you know why people, you know, don't invest in themselves? Because they don't know that investing in themselves is actually the best investment you can actually get, because the rewards are unlimited, you know. For you let's say you acquire a skill of coding, you can make unlimited, you know, revenue from that,
Right?
And people don't know that, and that's why they're not investing in themselves, and which is, you know, it's sad to see, but
And I think it's also it's not as like, how to say, like data driven, or let's, because you don't know what the ROI would be, right? Rather than like, when this stock went from $1 $2, maybe 100%, right? But I think also there's also delayed gratification, because you got to put in more work in yourselves to make that reward happen. Like it's the ultimate investment, but only if you drive it to be, right? Because because dude, like I want to kind of go back a little bit, because before, I remember, shout out to Sophie as well, Sophie Wu. She started investing in stock market when she was like in grade 12, and I was just sitting next to her. She was like buying like 10 cent and stuff like that. I was like, Sophie, like, okay, whatever, like I mean, I was very intrigued. Like she made, like, I don't know, let's say she made 10%. But for me, I never got it, because that time I also had like my own clothing business, right? So it's like, dude, like if I sell a clothes, like one T-shirt, I make 3 times the money, right? I make 300%. So why am I caring about like that 10%? This is nothing, right? And so like that's why I'm saying that's the power of investing in yourself, because it's your own thing, and you can drive the percentage points.
Right.
But obviously, if you invest it outside of yourself into something vehicle, it's more of that passive income that's driving those percentage points. But for you, I wanna I don't know. Like, what do you think? I don't have a question right now. Is there any thought that comes to your mind?
I think personal investment should, you know, people just need to be. It's a problem of self-awareness, and people just gotta be really rigorous in self-analysis and thinking about what do they really want and what's their purpose. And if you can't find your purpose, that's fine, because that's the whole point of life. It's a long journey, and it should take you time to find out your purpose. And I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but people should really go home and, you know, think and talk to themselves, and, you know, talk about like what do you want, how do you envision your future, and what truly makes you happy, and what do you want to do, and from that you can sort of back out like, okay, how can I get to there? And if acquiring money is one way, then so be it. It's saying go work for a high paid job. But if it's not money, let's say if you would want to be a full-time coach, like a PE coach, then how would you get there? Then that comes through a lot of like how you're going to invest in yourself, how you're going to start learning about physical education, how you're going to start learning about fitness. And I think it drives on what you truly want. And,
Right.
And people also got to be aware of like not what their parents want them to do. It's what they really want themselves to do, and what really makes them happy, and not what their friends want them to do.
Or society.
Exactly.
Right.
Because there's a lot of pressure in society right now. They just want people to, go become a doctor, go become a dentist, because it's the most high paid job you can do.
Right.
And it's easy, There's no such thing as easy money in this world anymore.
Right. And what you said there is like, start with the end in mind. It's one of the habits of highly effective people. It's also a pretty good book that helped me a lot in my university years. But what you're saying is that understand your vision and then retrace, okay, what are sort of the milestone or investments I need to make in order to become that, and then kind of proceeding.
For sure, man.
Okay. Cool. We are going to have a little break, and when we come back, we're going to dive deep into the article that I wrote for Sunny on his website. Can you plug your website real quick? It is?
It's leinvests.com.
Okay, leinvest.com. And we'll kind of go on just highlighting the article and talk about like how I like to think about self-investment, and then we're going to talk about our kind of best self-investment that we've made so far in our lives, and then we're going to jump into part 2 and talk a little bit more about that crypto and investment. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the first part, but second half of the podcast with Sunny and Lay. So in the second half, we are going to talk about the article as mentioned. And, this is some of the juice points. And when we talk about, investing in ourselves, this is at least how I think about it. We first got to do a little bit of a audit check of our assets, right? When people talk about investing in themselves, they think about, how can I maximize more capital? Let's say investing in general, how to use money to make more money, right? But I, personally think that money is not the only asset that we have. We also have time. We also have energy. There's also our mind, and our relationship. So in each category, right? Let's say we're a young person. We might be cash poor, but we're time rich, energy rich, relationship poor, or mind poor. But then if you are rich in time and energy, how can you invest your time and energy into generating and attaining more of the other assets? And so I'm thinking in terms of like someone could be super rich, but they're like time poor in a sense, right? So you want to have a good, well-balanced like personal portfolio in a sense, so that you are, I guess, like just generally a wealthy person, right? So that's the way I like to think about it. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's how people should be, how they perceive themselves, and they should really, again, back to that self-awareness and self-analysis about are they time poor, or, are they rich already because of their family, and how should they, allocate their time, more efficiently?
Mm-hmm.
And are they allocating their time like as they want? That's
Mm-hmm.
really important, because you gotta go back to like happiness. Happiness is really the main driven thing of humanity.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I just want to like kind of go through the different categories, right? Like with time is really interesting, because time is the only category that you can't generate and increase. You can only save. So if there's anything that saves you time, then that's a good investment. So yeah, automated tasks or systems or hiring someone to help you. That's a good investment. And with energy, you can save some energy, like on a side note, especially for men, not ejaculating, and not semen retention. I'm not sure how much you've dug into that world, but not a lot of guys, at least I know within my circle. I mean, there's a few that talks about that, and I'm currently right now on 1 month challenge. I'm on my like third week right now, and I feel like that's has been more invigorate. Like I've been more what's that word, like more energized. Yeah. So that's a form of self-investment as well, because you're able to save up that energy. And then obviously there's ways to generate energy as well, like sleeping better, like sleeping coach, or like buying a better pillow, better bed, right? And then there's the mind. So mind, I like to dissect it down to skills, knowledge, mindset, and experiences. And we can retain, attain knowledge, as well as rewire our mind to your mindset, like how the compound effect has helped you, being more aware how you spend your time on a daily basis. And with relationship, I feel like this is a big one as well, because I also had the chance to speak to like a precious metal dealer here in Macau, and he's obviously a very successful person, and he said that if he, like, apart from investing in like silver, because like that's what he recommended me, which we will talk about in part 2 if it comes across our mind again. But he was like, and apart from that, I would invest in traveling, because he says that the best, one of the things that you can't buy in the market is relationships. Right, you can buy silver, but you can't buy a 10-year friendship. That has to be developed over time. So if I were you, I would start developing great relationships with people that are a lot smarter than you, that can add value to your life, that are high vibrational. So that's also a very interesting insight that I got from that. So those are the different categories, and then that we can, like you said, be aware, self-aware, do a little audit. So take some time to write down on a paper in each category what are high, what are low, and what are some of the things that you can do to increase those categories. So yeah, that's how I think about it, man. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
Okay. Yeah. So let's. I have a quote that I kind of wrote down, because it's very important to invest in ourselves, because everything starts with us. Like, that's the thing. Like, everything starts with us. We are, I don't want to say we are we control our lives, because I'm trying to let go on a spiritual perspective, let go, take the wheel a little bit more. But we can definitely influence everything there in our lives, right? Everything's a reflection of our inner state, right? The law of projection. And that means we are the ultimate driver of our wealth, right? The reason why we are not wealthy, or the reason why we're not doing well, obviously external circumstances,
Yeah, of course.
And the lack of opportunity obviously has a factor, but we are ultimately the person that we can kind of change that circumstance and to be in a better place.
For sure. If your wealth is ultimately determined by you. If you're, there's no excuses about if you work, 20 to 20 to 60 hours, for like the work weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about like what are the time, what are you doing during the time off? Are
Mm-hmm.
you Netflixing? Are you YouTubing? Are you Facebook?
Right.
Scrolling. That's a time where you're the main driver. You've done your daily obligations, and now you're gonna do what you're passionate about, or what.
Right. Because that goes back to that compound interest, the slight edge effect. Because that 10 minutes per day, if you choose it to read a book, let's say, right, like 10 minutes a day, in 1 month, that's one book.
Exactly.
And you I think there's like the stat where it talks about, if you want to be like a top, someone that has great knowledge or top knowledge within the industry, you need to read like 3 or 4 or 5 books or something like that, and you'll have more knowledge than most of the people in that industry. Not experience though, but knowledge. And so I mean, you personally read the book Unshakable, which we'll talk about in a bit. I read the same version, but it's called Money Master the Game, both by Tony Robbins. And after you read that one book, you're like, holy fuck, like I know so much that I know how to start. It's not daunting anymore, like investing, right? So that's like what, like 4 or 5 hours of your time, but that knowledge has made me, I don't know how much, like a lot of money.
Yeah, it'll help you, it's money making decisions,
Exactly.
It's about pressing the button or buy, or
Yeah.
it's about getting in the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're missing out if you're not in the game right now. So make sure you stay with us for part 2.
Yeah, in the game mean just like actually in the, like, letting the money work for you in the investing game. So now we kind of understand like why it is important to invest in ourselves. And there's also one point, because 2 episodes ago I had a episode with Maurice where we talked about self-love and putting that like inward caring attention and taking action, just making sure that we are well cared of, right? And when we and that's like investing in yourself and putting money and energy in yourself is a form of self-love, self-care. Like before, I remember when I would not want to spend money on me, like buying nice clothes,
Yeah, I totally
or like
agree with that.
go to the dentist, or go and like I have a back pain or whatever, like I want to save that money.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't make sense, right? Why are you so stingy on yourself, right?
Yeah. I totally had the same experience with that. I'm actually still struggling with that, even though I'm putting more time and effort into self-love and personal investment.
Yeah.
But I'm still struggling. When I'm trying to sign up for that $2,000 course, or like business coach course.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling
Yeah.
should I do that? But like but when I go home and go to bed, and before I sleep I do a little think, and then okay, it might be worth it because the return might be 10 times more. So,
Right.
So yeah, I experience the same thing that you do, and I'm sure a lot of people do that too. And people just gotta be really rigorous in thinking how it could bring returns and not just the cost of it. So
Right.
So yeah.
And also just like understanding like you're worth it, like you deserve it. Like in terms of an investment, then that would kind of come down perhaps to your personal beliefs. Like how can you drive that return, right? Maybe because it's a lack of confidence. But like let's say going to the dentist or going to see a doctor or buying something, it's like the feeling that you get, and like your, I won't say like your self-worth, because it shouldn't be be determined by something external, but more as your experience and the quality of life can instantly improve, right? Some people like have a lot of money, but their quality of life is still kind of like rather than someone that's like don't have a lot of money but knows how to enjoy life a lot, right? Sure. And so I'm trying to be more like, how can I enjoy the finer things in life a little bit more?
I totally agree with that, man. I think everyone, even if you're not rich, you should try your best to experience what the luxury of life is. But you're not privileged to enjoy everyday life in that state.
Right.
So the boundaries of how luxurious life could be, so that you're not coming out of the town and like, whoa, what is this? You
just gotta get a little taste, right?
Yeah, you gotta taste it, and then, but you gotta also know that if you're gonna work this hard, okay, you're gonna be rewarded to be able to spend more time in this luxurious state. But I think that everyone should, it's so important.
Right. And it kind of goes down into a little bit of like the money mindset as well, because like if you live in scarcity like mindset, like you would want to hold on to that money really tight. You don't want to let it like flow, rather than if you live in abundance, like you would not be like too worried about like letting this money like go. And so that's one aspect of me that I'm trying to work more and more of, like like how can I be a little bit more generous in a mindful way, not just like, hey, let me treat you out just because I want to make you feel like I am like superior or whatever, just to brush my ego, but really coming from a genuine place that I want to like give and serve. And so I feel like that's a money mindset that like I'm still trying to work on a little bit more. But like, yeah, what's your like perspective on like that?
Yeah,
a
I
little bit?
think I share, like, I've developed this different kind of thinking path from my past, where it's bad to treat my friends to dinner or lunch because it's my money, and I'm trying to I'm trying to keep it as close to me as possible.
Yeah.
So right now I think more like I'm trying also be more generous and selfless, and really thinking about like how can I offer more to my friends, and really thinking about their emotions and how their reaction is, and how what they're experiencing. So
Mhm.
right now, if I'm going to take my friends out for dinner, my purpose of doing it is more like, okay, we're having such a good time, and I don't mind paying for this dinner because I'm investing in our relationship.
Mm.
So it kind of goes back into investing in self-love and everything.
Right, right. And that's a good perspective, man. It's funny that we all like go through the
Yeah.
similar experiences, right? And I would have someone on the show later on. I want to talk about like more money mindset, just dive into that one aspect, because I feel like a lot of people that like like don't invest or like don't allow that money to flow is because they have a lot of beliefs around money that blocks them from even thinking about it, or even like want to look at their bank account, or like talk to their accountant about anything, right? And so I feel like that aspect, although it's invisible, it definitely has a very tangible effect on our lives. But yeah, man, like, so right now, like I'm learning, like we're learning to let that money flow, because when it flows, it can amplify, right? If a water is just like not flowing, like that water is not going to be a good water, right? And so how can we have that cycle where it's like, yeah, you're spending it, but it kind of comes back up, and then it precipitates, and then kind of like makes your kind of lake or river even bigger. So it's like, that's the, I guess, analogy I like to think of.
Yeah, it's a good analogy to personal finance. It's about how you're gonna keep your money, in your bank account, and not just spending it everywhere that you seek for instant gratification. So, so that's a lot about mindset as well, because what you're spending money is, are you trying to cover your inner insecurities? You gotta figure out that why you're spending so much money.
Right.
Is it because you're just hungry for that dopamine rush when you're buying that Louis Vuitton new bag?
Right.
So you gotta figure out
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit about, like, I guess it's not talk about, I just want to point out this one insight is like, since we are the ultimate driver of our wealth, right, we want to make sure that we have a really strong personal, spiritual, and financial foundation in ourselves before we start allocating money outside of ourselves. Because if we start investing in, say, in the stock market or cryptocurrencies, but we don't have a good financial foundation, like, it's very easy to lose money in that market. Versus if you have like that confidence in your knowledge and your skills, then like investing outside of yourselves would be easier all of a sudden.
I think it comes into a mix of both, because knowledge in finance or investing gives you the confidence to press that button and look at which stocks to buy. But what is the biggest consequence of going straight into investing and not having your personal foundations developed is losing your emotions, because investing in the stock market is volatile, and it's bounded to go up and down, and you're gonna make huge profits in one day, or you might just lose 80% of your asset in a few months.
Right.
So the most tragic thing is people lose their mind and they start gambling, or they just might
panic sell.
Yeah,
right?
panic sell, and it can really infiltrate into their daily life emotions, and
Right.
it can project into others as well. So their friendships, relationships, family, and if you're even like a parent, you can even project it to your kids.
Right.
So it's just back to the law of projection.
Yeah, and I can relate because like I started investing in Bitcoin in 2017 in second year university. Not a lot, just a little bit, but I didn't really understand like the monetary policy and the value proposition of Bitcoin, as well as like the halving cycle or the technicalities behind it. And then I remember like it was just kind of going up and up. And if when it went down, like I didn't want to look at it. Like I was just avoiding it, right? But now, like couple years later, like 3-4 years later, now let's say last I guess 2 days ago, it dropped by like 10-20% or something like that because of the Xinjiang kind of like hash rate thing. But now my approach is like, hey, let me look into it. Let me understand why it happened. Is it because of a irrational like, is it because of like fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or is it because there's a fundamental issue with this instrument? So now, like, just the whole approach is way more mature, and I'm sure 4 years later it's even better. So that's the personal development, how that also ties into the I guess the financial investing.
What you don't want to do is let your money affect how you feel during the day or your internal emotions, because ultimately it's supposed to work for you and not affect you. So yeah, always like keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's like the money is your you are the master of the money.
He's like your assistant, and don't let your assistant take control of what of your days. It's like kind of analogy,
dude. And that's so fucking true, because like a lot of people, including myself, right, a lot of times we like the main factor or the main driver of a decision is money. Okay, do I buy this product or this product? Do I go here or do I go here? It's not like what you want. Is like, is it more expensive? Is it worth it? That's like, why are we revolving our decisions around money instead of just doing what we truly want to do, right? Then are we serving ourselves? Are we serving our bank account?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think this is like a ideology, kind of like an Asian culture, because Asian is known to be very well educated with money, and just I'm not saying everyone's being selfish or stingy about it, but a vast majority of people I know that are quite they're very aware of scarcity, and they tend to hold very close of their money, and they're not willing to be spend everything depends on the factor of money and value.
Value. You should look at value, not price, right?
Yeah, for sure. And also like the value of your internal happiness. Are you better off buying this or that? And what I've been trying to improve on myself is I'm trying to focus more on how does the decision affect my emotions or happiness, or am I better off going to this restaurant that's better, or am I going to eat at this cheaper restaurant but it's kind of crap and it's going to affect my happiness,
right? And your well-being as well, because also what you your output, like what
you are what you eat.
You are what you eat, right? And your output heavily determined on the input.
Sure.
And so yeah, on that energetic level also makes a lot of sense. But let me move on a little bit to talk a little bit about like the actual things that like we should invest, or we should think about investing to, again, increase that time. Sorry, you can't really increase your time, but you can save the time, increase the energy, upgrade your mind, grow your relationship, and obviously your money and your capital. So I can start off with like just general categories of things that I like to invest in. So one is like trainings, any courses, equipment, like this, the camera, this right now that's recording, that helps my business. Like certain services, right? Like for me at least, like coaching has helped me a lot in my life. And then also like certain softwares, like let's say a to-do list software, or something called Brain FM, where you listen. Like I use it to when I work, and it helps me improve my focus and productivity. And so yeah, those are the general categories. Does anything else comes to mind? If not, we can kind of go into the specific items in the categories.
Do you mean like my personal investments?
Yeah, like I just get like, what do you like to invest in yourself?
I've been investing in myself in like a few like language programs. So I've been trying to learn some foreign language like Korean.
Right.
It's just interest of me because
Okay.
yeah. Also, I've also invested in some like softwares. I have like a passion for music as well, so
Oh yeah,
I
nice.
invest in like a sound engineering software that I just use when I make some music. So
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do make some music.
Okay, I actually bought a DJ set last night.
All right, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I'm trying to like DJ a little
All
bit.
right,
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
but like yeah, maybe we can link there. Like, what kind of
Yeah.
music do you do?
I do pretty exciting music like house.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
No way, man.
Yeah.
Because I know you played the piano before.
Yeah, I don't play much now. But I've
Okay.
been trying to get back on it.
Okay. Wait, is there like a track that you can kind of send to us? Like you can send to me and I can put it, like use it.
Yeah, but I don't know about the quality of the track.
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. Yeah. What else, man? What else do you
Uh,
like to invest?
I invest in coaching as well, so like physical coach. And
Okay.
That's what I've been trying to work towards because physical coach is not cheap, and they charge per hour basis, and it's for some people they might not want to invest in it. So if you're a beginner at the gym, I highly recommend you get a coach for the first half a year or a year or so.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so you don't injure yourself.
Yeah.
And when you injure yourself, you're just gonna quit after. So so that's like a bad loop system that you don't want to get into.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I share quite a few common investments as you.
Yeah. And in terms of like health, right? I feel like that's a big one. I feel like if anything, that should be the first thing we should look at in terms of like investing in ourselves, because health is wealth, man. Like, if you don't think about your pinky until like you think about your pinky when it hurts, it's like, oh my God, this pinky is like so important to my overall like just operations in life, right? But like that's why like I invested in like a physio for my for my like ankle, my shoulders, and that was like pretty expensive, but I was like fuck it, like it's been bothering me for so long, I gotta like
I
go.
gotta fix it, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, I gotta do what you do. But for me, like in terms of like just reflecting, I think anything in terms of like physical things, like a good purchase that always like there's a formula for my good purchases, then that's like high value. So something that like actually, I mean, value is how you determine it, right?
Yeah, what's a good purchase for people is health supplements, because it's incredibly important to protect your gut, eat healthy brain foods, and just spending those money in buying like quality foods and not just from supermarkets.
Right.
And buying good fruits.
Right.
And also like vitamins, zincs.
Yeah.
You got blueberries.
Yeah.
To help your eyes.
Yeah.
So it's because gut is your second brain, so you gotta really take care of it.
And actually, talking about the brain, right? We actually have 3 like kind of brains. On that last episode, Narada helped guide me through something called the ambit, like multiple brain techniques, where there's our brain, our heart, and then our gut, which all 3 have intelligence. So I think that's just a little side note. But yeah, I've been taking some multivitamins as well right now, and I have like, what is it called, like the tinctures, like for detoxing and stuff like that. And I do like a Monday detox right now. Every Monday I just drink juice, and like it started out with like no meat Monday, but now it's like a detox Monday.
That's nice, man.
Yeah. But as I was saying, back to the formula, and I totally agree with what you said there in terms of buying supplements, because I feel like you just feel better and you have more energy. Do your thing, right? But like it's high value plus high frequency of use. I feel like that's always a great like investment. Just like one thing, when I said that, something came into mind, is that squatty potty. Have you seen that thing?
I have not.
you probably seen the commercial where it's like you put it under your toilet seat, and then like helps lift your. It's like something that you put your leg on,
Okay.
and it helps lift the angle of your leg.
Oh,
And so
okay.
when you poo, it's like easier.
Right.
And that's like what, $20?
I do know about this the scientific
Yeah.
correlations behind it.
Yeah. But then it's like $20, but like, or $30, but you use it every single day.
Yeah,
So
for
it's like
sure.
a great investment, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's one of the examples that
Well,
came
if you
to
don't
mind.
do that, you can just grab a garbage bin, and just
Yeah,
do
but
that.
like it's better because it's designed
Right,
for
it's
that,
just
right?
designed right
yeah.
for that.
Yeah. But anything else that comes into your mind when you're like, oh my goodness, like this was such a good investment?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for everyone is just don't be stingy to yourself. You're ultimately treating to yourself. Well, you can be if you're already stingy to your friends. Why are you stingy to yourself? You're spending money on yourself. I think that's like the biggest takeaway.
Right.
If you don't listen for the first entire half, this is the biggest takeaway.
Okay, that's true. Because like then with that mindset, you know what you can invest in, right?
Yeah.
And you can make your own decisions based off of that mentality. But dude, like I also want to just talk about like I just have a list I want to go through, right? For people that are looking for some examples or inspiration, like okay, this would be cool. Like for me, like conferences is always amazing, because like you always meet people. I went to like a Valuetainment conference and a Web Summit conference. People with the business kind of community might know about that. Also invest my time to set up a mastermind group. That took me probably like 2 to 3 weeks, not like consistently, but like maybe 10 hours to like plan the system out on Slack and like invite people to be on this mastermind group. And now like my buddy Diego and I and a couple of buddies, like we have a weekly mastermind where we come together and discuss ideas, and that has been such a great support system that didn't cost me any money to like set it up, but it cost me a lot of time and effort to think about it. So that's one example. And then also my meditation course that I went to Hong Kong for 10 days of Vipassana meditation. It's actually free, but obviously at the end, like I donated a little bit of money. So obviously also it took me some time. It's 10 days, full days to like meditate and live like a monk, and you can't talk. But like after that, like it's so applicable because I find myself just meditating every single day, not like in my house, like closing my eyes, but just like when I'm waiting for a bus or I'm waiting for a friend, or when I have like 3 minutes and I'm early for a meeting and I'm just waiting. That's when I meditate. Like if without that course, I wouldn't be doing that. So those are the little things when you reflect back on. It's like, oh my goodness, like that affected me now.
Yeah.
When at that moment I didn't even know it would.
You
right?
thought it was crazy, didn't you?
Yeah. Like why would this help? Like
Yeah,
that kind of
exactly.
thinking, right?
I think that's like a lot of like the how people see it in meditation. Like, oh, it doesn't really work, does it?
Yeah.
So you just gotta go try it and see it for yourself.
Yeah. 100%. Do you meditate?
Yeah, I do meditate every day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's
okay.
part of my daily routine.
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah, but I would like to try what you just mentioned about like being a few minutes early to the meeting, or just in the bus stop where you have a few minutes of time, because meditation doesn't have to be 1 hour or 30 minutes.
100%.
It could be 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Yeah.
It's about getting your mind off your obligations, about like escaping to this little room. It's just for yourself and just thinking and breathe.
Yeah.
Just enjoying the moment. Like enjoy each breath.
Yeah. For me, you know what? Like this is a pretty interesting insight that I had, right? It's like meditating. It's more of for like obviously there's a lot of different types of meditation. You can connect to the planets and the stars and whatever, right? But like for me, the easiest thing is like connecting with ourselves, like having that internal awareness. Like a lot of times when we have 5 minutes or the food hasn't come to the table yet, what do? We take our fucking phones and we scroll, right? The awareness is outside of ourselves. It's in this thing. This thing is sucking up our consciousness in a sense, right? Your consciousness and your attention, your awareness is not inside. It's not scanning your body. It's not feeling yourself. It's not being with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, if I do that and just have that awareness inside myself and not thinking, my mind is relaxed though. It's just here.
Yeah.
It's just doing that. That for me is is what
That's a great zone
yeah.
you could be in, man.
Yeah, yeah. So meditation, the courses, and then obviously like every single book that you buy is a great investment, even if you don't read it. If you even though it's like shit, but it's like at least you bought it. At least you put in the time and the effort to buy it, and then yeah, because like books is like such a crazy investment. Like so much information in such a little book.
Yeah.
And it can change your life.
I never knew books could be, that impactful for, for me, because I was never a reader.
Yeah.
And back throughout my whole primary, secondary, or high school life, I can probably count the books amount of books I've read with two of my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So what I realized the true value of them was when I was in about second year university,
Mm-hmm.
and then how that compound
The
effect
compound, yeah.
came into me, and
Yeah.
how I invest so much in books right now.
Yeah.
And I've actually, partnered up with one of the book depository they
Yeah.
ship worldwide, and I use it all the time as well.
Yeah.
And they have like an affiliation right now with me, and they're doing like a free shipping worldwide.
Nice. Oh, you want we can link that because I don't have an affiliation right now, so you can use Sunny's if you want.
Yeah, I don't mind if you don't use it, but it's there for you, and
Yeah.
they ship
Yeah.
everywhere basically, and there's no excuse for you to not buy a book because they literally ship right to your door.
Yeah, and even audiobook are
Yeah, it's
fucking
great.
amazing, man. Yeah.
That's another way to save our planet, man.
Yeah, and Kevin Hart has this really interesting book. What is it like? Forgot what he has a couple of audiobooks, but those are so good because it's like, it talks about personal development, but it's like so funny as well. So it's like he's
He's
hit the
good
sweet
at it,
spot.
man. He's good at
Yeah,
it.
he's good at it. Yeah, he's pretty deep, man. He's a deep guy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and obviously I can't not mention coaching as well, because coaching has been something that I've done for quite a while, not just as a coach but also as a coachee. And in my second year in university, like I mentioned, I was kind of like a little bit depressed, but it's really because of coaching I was able to become like a greater version of myself at such a quick like time. Like within 6 months I was able to go. I had a pretty good like foundation. I was already driven, but like my mind just wasn't at a good place. And like the coaches that helped me like was like the father figure that I like didn't really have growing up. It's funny how you said like what made you quite driven was your family kind of environment. For me, it's like my family more like situation.
Right.
And so like a lot of times motivation can come from like insight or pain. For me,
Yeah.
I guess it came from both.
Yeah.
And so yeah, for me, like I feel a lot of people should invest in their not physical health as well, but their mental health, right? If you are sometimes a lot of people ask me what's the difference between a coach or a therapist, right? If you are feeling like negative, you're in a negative zone, so you're depressed, whatever, you should go for a therapist, because therapist is really good at getting you from -0 to
Back to a straight point.
yeah, back to like zero, like negative,
Yeah.
back to zero, right? And then or you can obviously go from a lot of like the alternative like healing modalities as well. Like Reiki is great. Like let me think, like sometimes some hypnosis are pretty good as well, because it kind of taps into the subconscious mind, gets some other things out. Like plant medicine ceremonies are great, right? Those are really good at getting rid of certain things in the past, right? And then I think like coaches or training courses, when you have a good foundation, it can take you from that 0 to 100. So that's where coaching more comes in. But for me, I was very lucky to have coaching work for me from negative like 100 to like a good like 20, 30, and so that I was able to kind of be on my feet and
roll again,
like have that like upward spiral.
Yeah, for sure.
Effect. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's where I kind of think in terms of investing in your mental health as well. Do you have any examples like how you invest in your mental health?
I don't quite have this, it's quite the insightful experience that you had, but I do send my praise to my mom's religion, which is the Buddhist religion.
Yeah.
And whenever I have some mental difficulties or problems that I can't solve, usually I would go there and seek for a solution. Like usually the Buddha or whatever
Yeah,
God
yeah.
would point
Yeah.
me in a direction that I would be comfortable in, and
Right.
that I think that really gives people like confidence and the feeling of being comfortable.
Right, right. And for me, like I have a similar experience, but I guess a different way of doing it. I kind of use like Oracle and tarot cards.
Yeah.
I don't do it very often. Like I probably like get a reading on myself like once a month, and that's good enough. Like, hey, I got the message.
Yeah.
Let me implement. Like I know what I need to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
I don't do it that often too, but when like difficult decisions do come, it's a way for me to make those critical decisions.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, man. Any other juice that we should kind of touch on before we kind of wrap up this part 1 of this episode? What do you think?
I think we can dive a bit deeper on how you would set up your personal growth system. So like
Okay.
what would be your typical day be like, and how you would be self-aware of yourself,
Right, right.
of improving every day.
Right, yeah. Dude, this is very important because it's about that reflect ideas, action loop. So as you reflect, you have certain ideas and you implement the ideas and you reflect again. So for me, like if you can do that, then that would be like super awesome, right? If I have to break it down. And reflections for me personally, like I like to do it at night and every Sunday. And on Sunday, I like to coach myself. I like to sit down with me one-on-one and just kind of like write and talk to myself. I use this app called Otter, Otter, where I talk to it and it translates my voice into text. And then I obviously can listen to it or look at just the text and kind of highlight the things. And then I will synthesize it down into certain ideas where I would put it in something called a to-doist or a Trello. For my Trello, it will be more of my long-term goals, like, this 2021. And I break it down into quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4s. And then I actually like to not put like goals, but also I like to see it as intentions as well.
Right.
But before I move to the idea part as well, what I like to do to reflect as well is just do journal and write to myself, right? I feel like I've been journaling like a little bit more this month. So whenever I feel like I have too much thoughts in my mind, I'll just type like a page, free flow, don't care. Some people do morning pages like every day. That's what they do first thing in the morning.
That's me. I do.
You do morning page?
I do a morning, like a journal. I'm doing like a 365-day challenge. So
Okay, nice.
I bought this volume.
Uh-huh.
That's like they guide you through every morning, and
Oh.
you fill in this journal.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to give you pointers and inspiration every day and challenges
Yeah.
that you should go try and step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So
How's that?
I'm currently at second week right now.
Okay.
So everything's great. It's good for people who don't have a morning routine as well, because
Okay.
it does help you figure out like your morning routine, like what it should be and what should include in the routine.
Okay.
But I already had a morning routine
Okay.
prior to before the purchase of this journal.
Nice.
So it was quite an easy implement, because it was just implementing this book into another task into my routine.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And where can you buy this?
You can buy it on habitnest.com, I believe. It's
Mm.
called Habit Nest. So
Okay.
if you don't find it, just Google Habit Nest.
Okay, that's
And,
cool, man.
yeah.
That's cool. But like going back to what I was saying earlier, like you can do your morning pages and obviously
Yeah.
Habit Nest book. And then what else what do you like to reflect? Like how do you like to reflect as well?
In the morning, I usually reflect on how I would spend the rest of my day, because
Uh-huh.
it's really like a kickstarter for me, and like it sets the tone for the day. And like when you get a lot of tasks done in the morning, it sets you in a good pace. Like
Right.
you're accomplishing this, and then you keep accomplishing more tasks, and it sets you ready for success. Because
Right.
for example, if you make your bed every morning, you already done the first task of the day.
Right.
And it sets you up for the next task. And once you conquer that, okay, it sets you up for the next task.
Right.
And but once 8 o'clock runs around, you're very done so much, and you feel so successful. And by the time you go to work, and when you're actually dealing with bigger decisions for the company or your company, you're more confident and you're more judgmental about it.
100%, because you want to start getting that upward momentum with these little tasks. Like it could be as simple as like putting that rubbish into the rubbish bin.
Exactly.
And you get a little bit of that dopamine
Exactly.
kick. Yeah. What was I trying to say? Yeah, I forgot, but like it'll come back. Yeah.
I think one good challenge for yourself for the first thing of the day is to not hit the snooze button. That's a big challenge for everyone. So just try to get up as soon as the alarm kicks off.
Right. The way I wake up is a bit different though. Like I don't like doing that. What I like to do is like I'll hear it, but I'll change my position. So I'll go from a lying position into like a praying position. Like I'm on my knees, and then from a praying position, like after I chill for a while, I'll go to a sit up. Like my eyes is closed the whole time though. I'll go to a sit up position, and then I'll put a blanket over my head and I'll start meditating. And then after I meditate, and I'll go to like take a bath, take a shower. Yeah, so that's my. I like to wake up. I like to wake up slowly,
right.
but like I'll end up with a meditation.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there could be a lot of ways you could do it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you want to set up little tasks during your morning, so it's easy for you to accomplish. But it also sets the mood of the day. Like, okay, I've already done so much, and I'm not afraid to conquer the rest of my day.
100p. And I think the big insight for me is like the first thing that you should spend time on is on yourself before you spend time on your business or on your career or whatever, or even on your kids.
One of my biggest ideologies, I would say, is you should always perfect or have invested in yourself for enough of time before hiring someone. Because if you're going to hire someone to work for you, you're going to be passing a lot of information to him, and a lot of you're kind of like educating this person that's following against you. So you really should focus on yourself first before you hire someone.
Okay. But I have a different perspective on that as well, because I feel like sometimes you are hiring someone because you don't have the expertise. So I feel like you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but I think what I meant was like in the circumstance of like if he's doing the same
type of work
you're doing, but he's doing the tedious task that you're not you don't have time to do it.
Right. I understand.
So that was my perspective on. So that was I forgot to give the context.
Yeah. Okay.
So sorry on that.
That was all good.
Yeah.
But like on the broader context, like we're talking about how to set up a personal development system, right? So like we said, there's a reflection. We touch on that, and then we talk a little bit about the ideas. System. So like I put it into my to-do list, right? I like to, when I'm walking down the street, right, I have an idea pop into my mind, I capture it, I put it on like a notes or whatever, and I like reflect on that, like let's say every week or whatever that period might be. Or let's say it's a great idea, I want to put it down into I want to take action. I just open my phone, put it in, and I schedule a time, schedule a date, it's there, and I just go execute. So that's kind of like how like my idea capturing system works.
A quicker way to do it would be a voice memo if you're in a time rush. You do
voice?
I use voice memo when I have creative ideas flowing in, and I'm already walking and I don't have time to type, or I might just get hit by a car or something, so I could just do voice memo, just quick note, and you can always go back to write.
You should check out Otter then. I think you'll love it.
All right.
Yeah, because it's free. Voice memo turns into text.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We should do affiliation with these kind of companies, so we get some, cash flowing into this podcast.
Yeah, for sure, man. When we hit 1,000 listeners per episode, that's when we're gonna reach out to these guys. Yeah,
But for sure, they're great systems to implement because they're free, right?
Yeah, they're free,
right.
obviously. Yeah. Anything else that you, yeah, like how do you like to, I guess, what's your idea capturing system, I guess?
I think systems are a great way for you to, set up yourself so that you're in a state that you don't have to think. You know what your next task is. That's really important because you save up the time of deciding what to do next, because that can cost you a lot of time, and it's a problem for many people. It's called decision paralysis.
Right,
it's about too many decisions that you have to take.
Oh man.
And you can't decide which one to do.
Yeah.
But if you have already decided what to do,
Yeah.
like, let's say the night before,
Yeah.
you're going to save up all these time deciding between the day, and you're going to get ready to work.
Man, dude, so much insight just flowed through me as you were talking. First of all, that's 100% true, because the first thing that like my coach and I worked on when I was like in university is just to set up a single habit of like planning your day before it ends. So when you wake up, you're like, hey, this is what I got to do, right? So that's one insight. The second insight is like, what's a great investment that, like, for me at least, to clear my mind and just to flow all my thoughts out, is like having a whiteboard or having like a journal, just to write everything down with on hand, right? And draw everything out. That's great. And then recently I also bought like something called the Rocket Book, where it's like a journal, but then it can, when you scan it, it goes into your Google Drive or your Evernote. It hasn't came yet, but like that's like what, $20-$30. So I'm testing that product out, and hopefully it'll be a good investment. And it's also like, after, if you rub it with a little bit of water, it's like the ink will come off. So it's like
that's pretty cool.
Reusable.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's like sustainable product, right?
Yeah, sustainable product. Yeah.
All right.
So
I forgot what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
that
sorry.
was really
insightful.
Yeah. Right. I got it. So
came back. Okay.
It for those who doesn't want to spend money, you can easily do it with Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, just notes.
Yeah.
Or how I do it, I have a yellow sticky pad on my desk all the time, and I have a pen. So the night before, I go through like what are the most important tasks for my next day, and that's it. That's all I write down, and then I just focus on that.
Right.
Because once you've done that, you're done for the day.
Right.
Because focus on the major tasks.
Right.
And try to delegate the smaller tasks to other people, or if you have co-workers or employees. But if you can't, then you gotta set up those mini tasks when you have the spare time to do it.
Right.
Because what your most important thing is what you should focus on during the whole day.
Right. Right. And I think some people like, oh fuck yeah, I got a lot of ideas, but like I don't have any motivation to fucking do it, right? And that comes back into that self-awareness, that reflection, that why. Because once you understand your why, like, okay, this is what, in the moment when you thought about this idea, you want to do it, then you're gonna connect back to the driver, to the source of this thing why you want to do it. And so when you like, okay, you have it on your schedule, it's 2:00, you got to do this thing, you don't feel like doing it, then there's two things I like to do. One is like envision yourself after you finish that task. How would you feel? Maybe you feel fantastic. So connect to that feeling. Second is like, okay, just connect to the reason why you want to do this in the first place. Why was it in your calendar in the first place? And then usually those two things would be powerful enough.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful to get you started. But what I would do is just get started.
Just get started. Yeah. Those momentum tasks really help, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If once you get started for 2 minutes, and then you're gonna work for I'm gonna work for another minute, and it goes to 5 minutes, and
right.
I'm gonna work for a few more minutes, 10 minutes, it keeps going on and on and on, and by the time you're very, you've been doing this stuff for 30 minutes or an hour.
Right.
And that's how usually I propel myself to doing things that I might not want to do.
Yeah.
Because there are tedious tasks that I sometimes have to go through every day. So
right.
That might not be the most powerful and mind tricking ways for people to do it, but
right.
I think it's the ultimate way that you should work towards it.
Right.
And having the discipline, the self and mind discipline to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna work no matter what, because I need to get this done. That type of self-discipline is what you should work towards. And it's okay that you don't have it right now, because you have to be forgiving to yourself that that you are not flawless, and you are on your way there.
Man, that's very important because I used to have that expectation of myself, but like, hey, Marco, you should be like this hustle, like productive monster. And when you're not doing that, you start judging yourself.
Yeah.
You start thinking like you're shit. That's why you're not successful. And you kind of push yourself down.
Like what I've been learning recently from the Habit Nest book I got is being more forgiving to myself. And I've been really I realized that I've been really harsh to myself.
Yeah.
Like when I miss like a morning routine, I feel really, how do you say,
Like guilty?
yeah, guilty.
Uh-huh.
That I missed it, like, oh man,
Yeah.
I slept late again just because and now I couldn't do my morning routine.
And you start judging yourself like I'm fucking shit, whatever, right?
And I get doubtful.
Uh-huh.
And that's like another challenge that people face, and I face as well.
Dude, it's funny how like each episode, like some things kind of just relate. And we talked about like with Hans on that episode where we talk about the purpose of the universe. We talked about like, hey, you know what? Like at the end of the day, it's all about just loving ourselves, loving other people, forgiving ourselves, forgiving other people, as well as obviously in the self-love episode we talk about that, And so I can relate totally what you're coming from, because that's like me 6 months ago. But after working with a coach and understanding that I should care for myself a little bit, I should self-love myself a little bit more, I should not judge myself as much, my whole mental state has changed. Because when I'm, let's say, procrastinating, when I'm playing on my phone or whatever, like, or watching porn or whatever, like those moments happen. And like before it's like, oh, I keep pushing myself down, and then but now it's like whatever, let's just start.
Yeah, let's start over.
Yeah.
Start from scratch and then work from there.
Exactly, man.
You can always reset and restart. It's not the end of the world yet.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing is never give up until the circumstance that you have no control over, whether if the project is it's not funded, or you're at the hospital, you're ill, you're physically incapable of working, then that's the time you can possibly consider to give up.
Yeah, man. So we kind of went into a little tangent there, but at the end of the day, it's about that, at least the way I see it is that reflection, ideas, action loop. And
For sure.
through that, you would have that upward spiral that would, make, us a better person. And it's about that growth mindset at the end of the day. I wish they taught that in high school or whatever, right? Just knowing that, our intelligence is not fixed, but it's malleable. Because of that neuroplasticity in our mind, it can rewire ourselves, and we can just constantly become better. And just having that mindset that you can change and nothing is really permanent, nothing is fixed, is so powerful, because you start seeing yourself as this adaptive, constantly evolving being, rather than something that's fixed. Oh, because this is my genes, this is my personality, this is who I am. But nah, man, you're so much more fluid than you think you are.
Yeah, for sure. Because you never know until you try, man. Because that's like the big thing that people really don't get it, is that and I'm also constantly working towards it, especially with food, because these kind of challenges do transfer into work and your mental state. Because if you're more willing to accept changes or be uncomfortable, these kind of emotions and your mental state, that you're more progressive towards difficulties, you're more willing to accept challenges, it can translate to your performance at work.
No, 100p, man. And we talked about like investing in your health, and then your mental health as well, and then your mindset, also a big place for investment. We just briefly touch on money mindset. There's also relationship mindset. There's just like philosophy in life in general, right? These mindset, although it seems like, okay, whatever, it's like, especially in Asian culture, like, why the fuck are you talking about mindset, man? How does that help? But no, mindset is the foundation of all the decisions behind it. Because you can give the same idea, same business plan for one person and then to another, And if you don't have the right mindset, you can't execute it. Be like, nah, it's too hard. It's too, like, a lot of times when we have the idea, it's not that the idea itself is not good or the external world has killed the idea, but rather we have killed the idea in our own mind before even gets a chance to try and experiment in the real world, right?
Yeah, exactly. The coward dies 1,000 times before he does it, but a brave man just dies once.
Ooh.
You know?
All right, never heard
I'm not
that
sure
before,
if you picked
man.
it up, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And so yeah, man, like that doubt and fear is so powerful. But but the book, the Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill has really helped me kind of understand, like, don't listen to that voice. Or, The Untethered Soul by Michael Inksinger also kind of taps into a little bit of that. So yeah, man, that mindset, bro, that voice in our head.
It's incredible. It's incredible how our mind is capable of doing so much.
Yeah.
And how it can affect how your rest of your body and how you project to others.
Yeah, man. I mean, we planned to do this episode for like 45 minutes. I mean, for the first half, but I think it's almost like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. I mean, we can go for hours just talking about these kind of things, right? But like, let's kind of like sum it up a little bit, and then in the second half, we kind of go a little bit more technical, some stats, some research, and all that kind of stuff, and how to invest in.
We go into the practicalities on how we can actually take action like right now, and just not sit there and listen. You can go home, do these, and you'll be better off. Trust us.
Not financial advice, though. Yeah,
we're not any financial advisors. We come from experience. So
So yeah, I mean, just kind of summing up the juice points here. You said that earlier. Can you remind us what was that juice point? Because I actually forgot.
Which one? Sorry.
The one where you talk about, like, if you need to take one thing, this would be it.
Right.
Yeah. Was it to like care for ourselves, something like that, right? Like to.
It was probably about like self-love, right?
Yeah, I think that was it, right?
I think the biggest thing is to revolve around what you truly want, and we can always from what you truly want, you kind of back out on how you can set up little milestones for you to progress towards it.
Yeah.
And you should really base it off happiness, self-awareness, self-analysis, and go back to your mental health and all those kind of circumstances. And then you're going to summarize on what do you truly want on those. Then you can truly decide on what you could do now. That sets you up for success.
100%. And that's beautiful. And also, if there's any action step that you can take, is also that asset audit. Just understanding, like, in terms of your time, energy, mind, relationship, and money, which are high, which are low, where you want to kind of like focus on optimizing it. And then, maybe just come up with maybe 3 things that you would like to purchase or invest in that can help you just become a more wealthy person in general. I think, those are kind of like our juicy tips and insights from this part 1. And if you are not joining us for part 2, that's fine too. And I'm really glad that you were able to kind of just be here today. And it was a fun conversation.
It was a truthful and authentic conversation.
Yeah. Oh shit! I forgot what I gotta say, but it's okay. We're coming back. So thank you so much for listening. Love, peace, as always. See you next time.